let me ask you this. So how important would you say the process of what you've been through equated to the success that you've had up to this point?
I would say it's definitely, that's a hard question to answer because the entirety of my process isn't one that's just a straight line.
Right.
For honestly, when I was first starting out, like high school football, because I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. When I started out high school football, I almost ended up quitting back in high school my sophomore year. I thought I was going to be a D1 basketball player. Everybody thought I was going to go for basketball, and that's when I'm thinking like, oh, that's what I'm going to go for. I'm not too worried about football. Ended up going for football. Honestly, almost quit my redshirt freshman year in college. Yeah, Georgia Tech. It was just a lot of stuff that was going on with me, and it was just like, it was so deep. Like it was such like a personal thing for me, and just my entire life path. Like I'm gonna explain it in detail for sure, but it was just, I would say like everything that's happened to me throughout my entire life, my entire process, it's definitely propelled me to be the person I am today. And just being able to be that person, you look back and see that every trial and every tribulation that you went through, it was definitely needed. It was much needed, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have shaped into the kind of person I want to be now.
The B2S Podcast is brought to you by Motivated Apparel. Motivated Apparel, the premier gear for motivation. A brand that motivates, inspires, and empowers you to stay motivated while chasing your dreams. Head on over to www.shiftmotivations.com/shop motivated apparel and grab yourself some motivated apparel today.
Hey, yo, what up, world? What it do? Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blueprint to Success Podcast. Hey, man, we are excited, delighted, and honored to be with you on tonight. Once again, man, we got a great one for you. As you can see, we have a special guest with us on tonight. Can't wait to get this going. And we got a live one for you. So don't touch that dial. Make sure you subscribe and like, share, and make sure you enjoy, sit down, grab your popcorn, soda, whatever you're going to drink tonight, because it's going to be a loud one. One thing I want you to think about, this young man's story is you can take anything out of it. We're getting right. Well, actually, it's already started. Spring football is already here. So we've got one of the prominent athletes out of the 863 Polk County area. Mr. Jordan Domineck going to be joining us tonight, so you get a chance to hear his story. But I don't want you to touch that dial and think this is just another sports session. One of the things that I've learned is sports teach a lot of life lessons. So I guarantee you'll get something out of this segment on tonight. So don't touch that dial. You feel me? Blueprint Nation, stand up. But y'all know what to do, man. Got my brothers joining with me on tonight once again. Want y'all to give it up to my brother on my left, your right, Mr. Dumbo, Mr. Like Me,
man.
Mr. Throne Room. Yeah.
Man.
Yes, sir. Man, y'all give it up for my brother from another mother. Give it up for Alexander Hall.
What's going on?
What's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? You already know, man. Trucking through the week.
Slide juice.
What's up, cool, bro? Just blessed to be here. It's a good day. Put some good work in.
Yeah.
Making some adjustments. You know, put my foot down in that faith. Actually walking. Like I say, bro. Once you start walking by faith, bro, and not by sight, that junk is scary, bro. It's real, though.
Oh, it's real.
It builds your gird up. So we're in the building, man.
Hey,
Drum Room is out right now, produced by Domineck Certifico.
Yes, sir.
You already know North Cape. We are
on the way. Straight like that.
You already know.
Yeah. Stream it, download it, put it on your playlist.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir. Y'all know who this guy is, man. I've known this guy all his life.
What down?
My brother from the same mother.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Big Bad.
Big man.
Mr. I always got it.
Yes, sir.
And if I ain't got it, I can go get it.
Hey, I'm about to go get it right now.
All right now.
1,000%.
Yes, sir. Y'all give it up. Give it up for my brother from the same mother, man. Y'all give it up for Boy Wonder.
Blueprint Nation was happy.
Was happening?
Hey, listen, I was disrespecting. I'll tell you about it later.
No.
No, I'm gonna tell you about it now. Hey, listen, I go walk around the corner. Girl talking about, hey, what's up, Kevin Hart? So I'm walking by. The disrespect. What's up, Blueprint? It's cool. I get that all the time. It's like, can my account look like Kevin's? Can I get 1%? Angry. No.
Hey.
Yo, love and loyalty out as well. Make sure you count the EP. We got the Bridging the Gap also out. You know what I'm saying? The BTDM Media Network album. So, yo, subscribe, create an account. We got accounts for the free, but if you want the premium package, you know, you want all the good goods, all the podcasts, music videos, everything, you gotta get the premium. Yeah. $2.99 a month or $29.99 for the year.
Yeah. Go subscribe. Download it. Not now, but ratch now. Yeah. Well, Blueprint Nation, once again, man, we're excited on tonight. I kind of let the cat out the bag in the beginning. But I've actually been following this young man for quite some time and just had the opportunity to run into him and his partner while they was training, and thought it would be good to kind of have them on the podcast as spring football kind of gets going, to give some insight to some of these guys that's, you know, dreaming of going to the college level, pro level, or whatever that looks like. But once again, I told y'all, Blueprint Nation, don't change the channel, because you can learn a lot of life lessons from athletics. So without further ado, I want y'all to welcome Mr. Jordan Domineck to the Blueprint to Success Podcast.
Man, you know, it's Jordan Domineck in the building, Big JD. Y'all know, Big 4-4. We're going to make sure everybody knows it. We're going to rep it all this year.
Hey.
Appreciate y'all for having me out here, man. It's been a good day.
Yeah.
For sure, dog.
Had 3 workouts today, one with Coach Melvin. I'm going to tell you about that because he likes to kill his trainers and athletes. If y'all train with Coach Melvin, you're going to be in shape. But I promise you, you're going to hate him. You're going to hate him in general. But you're going to be in the best shape of your life. I promise you that. Shout out Coach Melvin, man. Melvin Jenkins. Man,
But I mean, he doing his job then.
man, he doing his job, and I hate him for it. But I'm going to love him during the season when I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I'm good. You
When
know,
the
I'm
results
good.
are showing up.
I hate him, but I love the results.
We got you, coach.
You know how they say, don't hate the player, hate the game? It's the exact opposite for him. Like, we gonna hate the player, love the game.
Oh, man. Yeah. I was with him, man, when I was out there watching y'all do y'all thing, man, I was like, ooh, boy, he putting it on y'all. Boy.
If you guys go and watch, if you guys go look at his Instagram, it's Mahanai Malik. Anybody that wants to see that, I can write it in or something. We can get it put up if you guys
Yeah,
want to.
we'll make sure we put it in.
Mahanai Malik, everything. You guys see the types of videos he does with not just football players, but track athletes, boxers, high school, elementary, middle. He's training everybody. He's a real deal hustler, and he knows what he's doing. So if you guys want the best work, the most elite work out in Polk County, out in Lakeland, I definitely hit him up. Like, that's definitely the thing. And you guys see, we be out there on the sand hill. We're out there in the field. We're out there, man, running 150s uphill in sand. Like, that's what we do. And what's crazy is you guys see, like, the conditioning aspect of it. Y'all don't see the full video of what we doing beforehand. So y'all see us when we almost dead tired. And he's over here pushing us like, yeah, you got 2 more. You do those 2 more. Yeah. You got 4 more. Like,
Keep moving the needle on.
coach. I remember, man, every time he does this, I remember he said, all right, we got 10. Because we have, like, so with the sand hill, we have 3 different hills. We got the super steep, like the big hill that's about, like, I'll say 50 yards up, but it's steep. Like, imagine, you ever seen the Talladega Daytona race course? It's that kind of steep where you got to, like, run up it. Like, it's crazy. And then,
Mulberry?
I know which one you're talking about. We use that hill too, the one over on the backside behind Zaxby's. Yeah, we use that hill. That's for turnover, so you're going downhill and uphill full speed. Like, he don't play about that. We do a lot of that stuff, but the sand hill has 3 different hills. There's the long hill, which is basically an incline of about like 20 feet, but it's 150 meters, all sand. And like there's a steep incline at one point that you got to go through. And then there's the one we use is basically just straight, not straight line speed, but like curve speed. So start like over on the left side and you running all the way around past both the hills, going around all the way to the end. And saying is we do some work. I feel like we do some pretty good work, you know. So I remember I say that to say this because I was telling the story. He'll say, all right, we got 10 hills today. 2 leg hills, 2 long hills, and then 6, steep hills. We'll do the 2 long hills. All right, remember, y'all got 4 long hills, 2. I'm like, dude,
I quit.
I said, I'm talking about, hey, you said we got 10. No, I said we got 12. I'm like, what?
You better get me.
But it was good. It was good work, though. It helps you. Mental, you're gonna get mental strength. You're gonna be able to get through whatever life throws at you. You're gonna be able to persevere, so to speak, with his training method. Because he's not only attacking the mind, he's attacking the body too. And it's all great work. It's all crazy.
Yeah. We actually gonna have him on. So y'all have an opportunity to listen to his story and as well. So we're gonna actually have him on in a couple weeks. So these guys are gonna be getting ready to get up out of here to start their season. So we wanted to go ahead and get these guys in first, so y'all will hear from the trainees, and then y'all will be able to hear from the trainer. And they both got some amazing stories. So yeah, looking forward to listening to his. So he shared a little bit with me. So yeah, we definitely gonna be having him. I already talked to him.
Telling you, don't let them come on here and be. No, I'm gonna hold them everything. I'm gonna watch the show and I'm gonna hold everything you say accountable. I'm gonna be live texting them. I'm gonna be as soon as I watch it, like, hey, that ain't true about this. That ain't true about that now. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna hold him accountable like he try to hold us. So it's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Being so scared, you know, calling in.
Man,
I'm done, Scoop. I'm done.
you know you got a good trainer. You know you got a good trainer when your stomach drop every time he text you. Her name pop up on the phone. Hey, what you doing? Shoot, nothing, coach. What's up? 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, come meet me. Let's go. All right, cool. You know what time it is. Go work out for a good 2 hours. Feels like 2 years, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And then we just get it going. That's just how it is, though.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. So let me see where I want to start. So let me ask you this. So how important would you say the process of what you've been through equated to the success that you've had up to this point?
I would say it's definitely. That's a hard question to answer because the entirety of my process isn't one that's just a straight line. I'm not like for honestly, when I was first starting out, like high school football, because I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. When I started out high school football, I almost ended up quitting back in high school my sophomore year. I thought I was going to be a D1 basketball player. Everybody thought I was going to go for basketball, and that's when I'm thinking like, oh, that's what I'm gonna go for. I'm not too worried about football. Ended up going for football. Honestly, almost quit my redshirt freshman year in college. Yeah, at Georgia Tech. It was just a lot of stuff that was going on with me, and it was just like, it was so deep. Like it was such like a personal thing for me, and just my entire like path. Like I'm gonna explain it in detail for sure, but it was just, I would say like everything that's happened to me throughout my entire life, my entire process, it's definitely propelled me to be the person I am today. And just being able to be that person, you look back and see that every trial and every tribulation that you went through, it was definitely needed. It was much needed, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have shaped into the kind of person I want to be now. You know, if everything had just been handed to me, what kind of person would I be? You know, you have to go through certain things in life that it might be harder than others. It might be not as hard as others. You know, everybody has their own path, their own thing that they got to go through. And mine was a little bit tougher than others, I'll say, from my perspective, you know, but it definitely shaped me into the person I want to be. And I honestly feel like I've taken the time to really embrace that kind of person that I am and just, you know, try to pay it forward. So at this point, it's like, my purpose now is Well, I mean, throughout my process, my purpose has always was never to get to the NFL. That was the crazy thing about my process. My process was always, okay, I'm gonna go get a degree from wherever school I go to, and Georgia Tech was the best place. And I was happy that I was able to go get a degree from Georgia Tech. I was happy to be able to play all my years in college football in all the places I've been. And I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to be able to play professionally in the CFL. So it's definitely been a wild ride for me, and a lot of people won't expect what I'm gonna say, but the NFL was never like a main goal at first, you know. But as a kid, like coming through the high school, coming through middle school and all that, it was never my goal to go to the NFL. My goal was, okay, I'm gonna be an academic dude and try and get myself a degree from a prestigious institute. And then after that, and once that Georgia Tech offer, it was like, you should have saw Mama's eyes light up. She was like, so we're going, right? I was like, oh yeah, you know what time it is. But no, that's a whole story in itself too. So, but no, it was definitely, I would say, yeah, my process has definitely shaped me into the person and has caused me all the success I've had and the future success that I believe I will have.
Yeah. You know, and I'm glad you led with that because we're all big on processes. Because we always talk about how it's really not about the destination, it's about the process. Because it's the process that really determines who you become. It ain't where you're going. It's who you become in the process of where you're going. You know what I'm saying? So, and that actually rolls right back into my next question, because I was going to talk about your upbringing. I've been mentoring for over a decade, well over a decade, and heard some of the worst stories. You know what I'm saying? Single parent home, both parent home, some good, some bad. And I'm always asking the kids, like, outside of football, outside of basketball, outside of this sport, tell me something else about yourself that you would enjoy doing. I'm not telling you to have a plan B in the sense to giving up your dream, but you got to realize the stats are stacked against you. And so it's less than 1% that actually make it. So, like, what other interests do you have? You know, so I'm always asking that question. And I remember my dude, man, Cecil Cherry.
Yeah.
So that was my first stint out there at Victory when I became an FCA volunteer. And so, and me and him, man, he like, a couple of the kids like really took to me. So like we exchanged numbers and we've been attached to the hip ever since. And he been one of them. And to see what he's doing now, because, you know, I was watching him and I was like, this kid, like, he the truth. Like he's like an old soul. He like remind you like LT type where he just knock you out. But I was like, and then I asked that question to the class, and he knew what he wanted to do right off rip, which is what he's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? He's still in pursuits of, you know, the athletic portion as well. But just talk about your upbringing a little bit, because I'm quite sure that, like I said, I met your mom because I keynoted the graduation ceremony some years back, and so that's actually how I met your mom. So that's why I said, yeah, he come from good stock. So I started watching your career a little bit, and so that kind of steered me in your direction a little bit. So talk about like how you were raised, values, and how that shaped you into who you are. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mama, Stacey Campbell Domineck, as you know, she's the CEO of Career Source Polk, and then my dad, James Domineck Jr., he's a defense attorney. He's practicing law. I have an older brother, Brendan. He is an aero.
No wonder you so smart.
My brother, Brendan, he's 15 months older than me. He ended up graduating from Mississippi State, same place as my mom, and now he's working at Lockheed Martin as an aerospace engineer. I have a little sister. She's in her second year of college right now. She's working. Yeah, it's been, I just grew up with them. It was really just, I was a super energetic child. I was never a bad kid, but I did tend to get in trouble a lot simply because I could never just sit still. So a lot of our time was definitely spent trying to find something that would, you know, put my mind or make me busy, get me busy, give me something to, you know, pay attention to and take my time with and everything like that. So as a kid, it was, you know, our parents were strict, as all parents are or should be. And honestly, I feel like I was graced to be able to land in this family, just to be able to grow up with my brother and my sister. We had our normal sibling squabbles and everything, but By 4 years old, my dad was like, yeah, we're gonna put you in sports because you're too energetic. Like we're not doing this with you. We're not
Right.
like you want to run around the house. We're gonna run around everywhere. Okay, so ended up going into football. Ended up playing basketball over at Simpson Park. Ended up playing football for the Lakeland Eagles. And I ended up playing T-ball over at Carter Road. And it was just like a year-round thing where it was just like football, basketball, baseball, football, basketball, well, T-ball, football, basketball, T-ball, football, basketball, upgraded to baseball. Realized that I never realized that I was that good in football. I honestly would just, what was funny to me, I was a huge anime watcher as a kid, and I still am to this day. Like, love anime, yes, huge. Like, I don't think you understand. I'm probably the geekiest dude out there when it comes to anime. Like, you could play 5 seconds of like an opening to an anime song and I could probably guess it, but it's one of those things, where it's just like you love anime. But yeah, so what I would do is I would literally just go out there and just try to hit anime moves on kids out there playing football. And it worked out. And it would work sometimes, it wouldn't work at others, but I was really energetic. My first few years, I was really undisciplined. All I wanted to do was just go get the ball. And so my parents, our coaches couldn't put me on offense because I would just run to the ball. So like I'm on offense, I'm the wide receiver on the left side, the ball's thrown to the right. I'm just running over to where the ball is. No block, no nothing. It's just like, there he goes. Like, so they were like, you know what, we're going to put you on defense and just let you calm down a little bit. And that was like the best thing they could do for me because I was just see ball, go get ball. That's all it was. Like, as soon as the ball was snapped, I'm just running and going.
I can imagine what that looked like.
I finally got a little bit more discipline as time went on. Was able to play both sides of the ball, as everybody does in Little League, offense and defense, wide receiver and defensive end. Started playing AAU basketball in middle school, 6th grade, tried out for the Lakeland Hawks, played with them. And that was where I really discovered my passion and love for basketball. I liked it before, it was cool, but really being able to travel, sightsee, play different kinds of people, see how I stacked up against different people. It was really good for me. I felt like I was becoming more confident in myself and my abilities. And that's why I started leaning more towards like a basketball player type of thing. So ended up playing football, through middle school with the Lakeland Eagles, played all my years there from 4 years old until like 13 and ended up going to George Jenkins High School. It was a flip between, I was either going to go to George Jenkins or Bartow IB. And I got accepted into Bartow IB, and I was like, do I want to go here or do I want to go to George Jenkins? I feel like Bartow IB would set me up pretty well, but then again, George Jenkins is right here. And I felt like I could honestly do like dual enrollment classes over at Polk State, which I ended up doing. So I ended up going to George Jenkins, playing football, basketball there, did track and field in my later years. And yeah, I would just keep playing AAU basketball and playing football throughout. Would go to multiple football camps, USF, satellite camps, different kinds of places, and ended up getting scouted, ended up getting my first offer after my sophomore year, actually during an AAU basketball tournament, which was funny to me. And Coach Melvin was the one that mentioned it to me. He was from Brown. I remember that. And I had told him, it was during that time, I told him, I'm not playing football no more. Like, you can tell them they can rescind the offer because I don't want to play anymore. And that was a whole, different thing. That was so crazy to me. Ended up having to deal, well, not even having to deal with things. It was just I didn't want to play football anymore. Coach Mel actually convinced my mom to get me back out into the field. That's why I started training with Coach Mel in 10th grade. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
So let's pause right now. So what was going through Domineck's head that you didn't want to play football anymore?
All right, so this is a whole story, and a lot of people that I grew up with definitely know about it and everything when I was at George Jenkins. One thing about me, I was irrational and a hothead and a little entitled at the time as a sophomore, So I'm going into my sophomore year. We played football. I ended up playing pretty well my sophomore year. I felt like on varsity. My first year I played JV. Ended up going to varsity. And at the time, our coach was Coach Tate. So he was over there, and great coach, honestly. I appreciate everything he did for me. He was a really good dude and everything. And at the time, I just didn't see what he was trying to do and everything like that. But I just felt like coaches had it out against me and everything, you know.
Yeah.
Just that mentality.
Yeah.
Where like I'm the star, let me shine. And if you're not, you in my way. Like that kind of mentality and all that. So, you know, I was doing my thing over there, and I felt like I was playing pretty well. It was actually during the trophy ceremony at the end of the year where they announced like the defensive player in the year, and they gave it to our linebacker. And he had some really good stats too, you know, so he definitely earned it. He deserved it. I got a little heated, honestly. Tried not to let it show. But honestly, I was a little surprised, taken aback by what had happened. I was like, I felt like I did good enough to be the defensive MVP, but whatever, got upset, left, got emotional, had a whole basketball, was it a basketball tournament? No, I was going to visit my brother over at my brother was going to visit MSU on a visit that same weekend. So we ended up leaving, like it happened on a Friday or a Thursday. We ended up leaving the next day, going to MSU, just complaining about it. Had a whole Facebook post about it that kind of went semi-viral and everything. But like, I don't know, it was just like, I was just that young, hot-headed dude that was just like, I feel like I should have deserved this, I should have deserved that. And you know, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get what you deserve. Sometimes you just got to work a little bit harder. I didn't understand that at the time. It took me a little while before I truly understood what was going on. And, but yeah, that ended up me, like, I was like, you know what, if I'm not going to get appreciated, I'm not going to get recognized, I'm not going to do this out of the third. Why am I even here? Why am I playing? Like, I don't feel like playing football. I've already been dealing with a whole bunch of these coaches, like, on my head, like they don't care about me, they ain't worried about me, all that. You know, what goes through a kid's mind when he feels like he's been gypped and all that.
Right.
And so I ended up just saying I want to play basketball. And at the time, if you all know Hassani Harper, the one that is putting out amazing content for the athletes around Polk County, making sure they get in touch with all these coaches in the college and everything.
Love that guy, man. Great dude.
Great dude. If you don't know him, go follow him. Just to let y'all know, Hassani Harper, H2 Athletes.
Yeah.
He's a great dude. But he was the one that was doing my highlights at the time, and he did my highlights. And Coach Mel actually ended up seeing them on YouTube, and he was like, "Yo, who is this kid?" And Hassani told him about me, and Coach Mel actually pulled up. This was like a few weeks later. At a basketball game. Like we had a basketball game at George Jenkins that day. And I was just chilling. And we were just outside at the front, like next to the bricks and everything. And they walked up, he just walked up on me. He was like, "Hey, you Jordan?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Cool." And we just got to talking. He introduced himself. We got to meet and everything. And he was like, "How would you feel if I trained you?" I said, "Oh, I don't play football no more." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh yeah, I quit. Like I'm strictly basketball now, you know?" So it was like about 2 hours before the game and whatnot. And so the crazy thing, my mom was at the school at the time. I believe she was dropping off something for our basketball team because she was very involved in everything like that. And she was dropping off something for the basketball team. And she was walking out. And she walked up to me, and we were talking, and then Coach Mel came over and introduced himself to her and started talking to her, and they got to talking on the bricks for like an hour. So like I go back into the gym, I come back out, they're still talking. I'm like, okay, what are they talking about? Because like I'm not finna like I know, like, you know,
Somebody getting set up.
so it sounds like something's not about to go my way, you know. Boom. So yada yada. They end up talking and all that, and then I come back and we play our basketball game, whatever. And then my mom takes like 2-3 weeks to convince me, like, to go play football again. She had convinced me to go work out with Coach Mel after like a week or so. So I ended up going and working out with him and everything, doing all that. Like I said, it was at a basketball tournament that I got my first offer, and Coach Mel was the one that told me about it because he was training me at the time. And he was also pushing my name out to the college coaches that he knew at the time. Wow. And as he was doing that, I got my first offer from Brown. And from there, it was just okay, I might as well give this football like a shot and whatnot. And it just went from there. Like played football and basketball, did track and field, AAU basketball. It was just like an all around just yearly thing where I was just being an athlete while also trying to uphold like, certain standards in the classroom and whatnot, which I feel like I did pretty well with. And from there, it was just ended up wanting to play football again, found the passion for it, became like more into it, began, working through everything, like all my, internal problems and issues and everything. Just became, a better person. Not the best, because I still have a long way to go, as you're going to hear from the rest of the story. But I became like, I got used to those kinds of things happening to me and, being more mature about the way I go about things and handling my emotions and whatnot. And from there, it was just, okay, we trained, we played football. The offers started coming in more my junior year, right, leading into my junior year, leading into my senior year. And everything just worked out.
Yeah.
That's just how like the whole upbringing and everything started.
Man, that's good.
The B2S Podcast is brought to you by No Grind, No Glory Apparel, R828 edition. It's a reminder to stay strong, to be courageous, to stop your fears, and to feed your faith. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, just know that you were born to stand out and make an impact. Head over exclusively to www.nogrindnoglory.net and grab you some merch as a daily reminder that all things work together.
You talk about a lot. I'm just saying, listen to you, bro. Just intaking. I'm taking notes myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
But one of the things that I hear you talk about most is that, you talking about the process of you being a football player, but you're not leaving out the process of you being a personal person and the inner work of you getting yourself right. So, like, if you can just really quick just shed light on the work you had to put in on yourself versus the work you had to put in on the field. Like, what's the difference between the two? Because from listening to you, it's almost like it's no difference. The harder you work on the field is the harder you work on your personal life. You know what I mean? So
that's what a lot of people do get confused. They feel like there's got to be a percentage split of like, 50% personal, 50% athlete. Well, no, everything is actually intertwined. If you're an athlete, that personal life is definitely going to affect you both in and off the field. And you can't. We tell athletes you can't let your personal life affect you, but obviously it's going to affect you in some way. What you need to be able to do is be more emotionally mature, be more emotionally intelligent to be able to handle those said feelings, those said emotions, and be able to either shove them down or use them to enhance your game. And that was the beginning like point of my lesson in that. That was where I really had to like learn, okay, you need to be more emotional aware, you need to be more emotionally mature, you need to be able to, talk yourself through your own emotions, even if that's verbal. Because a lot of things, like one thing I did when I was a kid and everybody called me weird, I would talk to myself. And it wasn't just like I'd be mumble here or there. Like, no, I'd have full-blown conversations with myself where I'm talking to myself and then I'm replying to myself. And people thought I was crazy. Like, they was just like, oh, that's JD, like that's what he does. Like he's like weird. No, that was just how I was able to learn how to process my emotions from a younger age. Like, all right, let's talk this out. I'm having a conversation with myself on this one side. Like I'm pretending to be the angel and the devil at the same time, just throwing ideas back and forth and just like, and that was my way of coping.
Yeah.
No, that was my way of coping. But that's really how some of the conversations were going. Like we could call a bunch of like old basketball players from Georgia, because old football players and everything. We could call them up and ask them about like, hey, did Jordan used to talk to himself? Yes. Like, yes. He'd be out there at practice just rambling. Like, you just see him in the helmet just yeah, I know, man. Like, who are you talking to, bro? Shut up. Like, bro, you can't see I'm talking to someone. Like,
my wife called it this. She said, I'm just having a staff meeting. and my youngest daughter, she do the same thing now. She be talking. I said, oh, you having the staff meeting? Huh? She like, yeah.
No. You know it's bad when you start doing voices for the other person. Like you talking like, hey man, we gotta be good. No, man, we straight. Like you really started searching up the voice to do it. Like, nah, you knew there was a little issue, but it was like, nah. So that's how I would. So, but yeah, back to what you were saying. Yeah. That's how I was emotionally maturing for my age, because I had to find a way to be able to calm myself down, because I was very emotional as a kid. I was very like quick to temper, quick to anger, but it was never, I wouldn't say I was quick to temper, quick to anger, but if something didn't go my way, I did not take it well. Yeah. So I was the friendliest dude you can meet. I was just, if it didn't go my way, it was just quick, like a flip of a switch, like, okay, I'm annoyed now. And that's how I would just talk myself down. I would just talk to myself and be like, hey, you're good. Don't even worry about it. Just keep going, do whatever you need to do, have those longer conversations for the bigger the thing and whatnot. But understanding that after I got to Georgia Tech, this is where I could really expand on that. My emotional maturity definitely had to improve a lot. So from high school, my emotional maturity, got up there, my emotional intelligence, and working on the interpersonal, conflicts and issues I had. Yeah. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was just, regular high school things. I got a crush on this girl. I got a math test on Friday. I got to do this. I got to be here, be there. Oh, my mom's not letting me go to this pool party. Just normal stuff, but at the time, that's like your whole world as a teen. You don't know what's really going on in life. So, and those are obviously like valid, emotions to have as a teenager once you're like not able to do the things you want to do, but you have to be able to understand how to emotionally regulate yourself to be able to, just get through any given situation. And honestly, I felt like I was good with that. Throughout high school, I never really got too crazy, too into it. Ended up feeling like I solved most of my personal problems throughout high school, solved everything that I really needed to solve internally through high school, and ended up going to Georgia Tech. And that was where I really had my first real test. So ended up, well, I don't know if you guys want the full story of like how I ended up at Tech, or if you want okay, so that starts back.
I got a question because it's kind of leading up on.
All right, go ahead.
You allying up? No.
Oh, okay. So basically, when I was, a sophomore, I received my first offer from Brown. My second one was from FAU. My third one was from USF. USF at the time had Coach Willie Taggart. And he was a really good dude. I would literally be out there almost every weekend at USF. I was high on the recruiting board. And then he ends up going to Oregon. And that was about a year or so later. And at this point, I'm not committed to anybody, young, trying to learn, still going to satellite camps and trying to get, the offers that I want. Like, obviously I wanted, but like there was one offer in particular that I never got. And like, it just, where my daddy went, I'm gonna let y'all figure that out. Where my daddy went. Like, I'm gonna let y'all figure that out.
I forgot because I did look up your pops. I forgot he was in law. So,
wow.
While y'all ponder that, I'm gonna keep this going.
Like the headlights right now.
So I'm over. So basically, I was getting offers, and that's when Coach Charlie Strong came in, and he ended up re-offering me, and I committed to Coach Charlie Strong in USF about, I'll say, my junior year. So it was right after I got in like my 8th or 9th offer. I had ended up committing to USF because I had been to lots of their practices, lots of their games. They were showing me mad love. I'm familiar with them. I'm thinking, oh, this is the place I want to be. Boom, I'm committed to them for a year and a half. And so one of the schools that was recruiting me at the time was Appalachian State. And Appalachian State had their defensive coordinator, Nate Woody. And Nate Woody was recruiting me hard as a defensive end. Yeah. Georgia Tech had sent me messages and everything, like mail, but they never truly wanted me, because at the time they were running like a 3-man front, not a 3-man front, a 4-man front, but it was like a big 4-man front. Yeah. And at the time I was not a big high schooler. Like I was 6'1", but like 190, 200, you know, like a smaller defensive end kind of thing, like super, like a speed kind of end. So we end up doing, I ended up committing to USF for however long. And what happened was Coach Woody ended up not transferring, getting hired over at Georgia Tech. And when he got hired at Georgia Tech, they were going through their recruiting board and was like, oh, who is like, do you know this kid? And he was like, oh, yeah, I know this kid. I was recruiting him at Appalachian State. Yeah. So end up getting a call from them. And it all worked out so funnily too. So it was a week before the national signing day. I ended up getting a call from Georgia Tech. And this is the second national signing day, not the first one. So this was the first year, 2018. 2017 was the first year where they allowed that you could sign in December and also in January. So I almost signed early, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that because I still got to go to classes and all that for my next however long, so I'm going to just wait. So the week before signing day, I get a call from somebody at Georgia Tech. I can't remember who it was. I believe it was Coach Speed, the DB coach. And he gives me a call, and he's like, hey, so we're recruiting you. How would you feel about coming up on an official visit this weekend? I'm like, okay. You know, like, I might as well, you know.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
Wouldn't hurt to try, you know. Forgot that the school was, like, at the time, like, they had stopped replying to me and stopped messaging me. So I'm like, who is GT? Like, I got to remember, like, who is GT? So I'm like, oh, GT, looked it up. That's Georgia Tech or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good school. They look like they play some good football, you know. Looked up what kind of classes they had and everything, and was like, okay, so they got a biomedical engineering thing. I want to go into pharmacy and everything at the time, so I was trying to get into that, but they were more of a STEM school instead of like a medical science school, so I ended up going for biomedical engineering later on when I committed and everything. But what do you call it? We had a basketball game that Thursday night. We ended up playing that game against Lakeland. I remember that game too. It was me, Marvin, Ray. I'm not gonna go down that. I'm not gonna go down that bad. That's gonna take a. Now just know that game right there was different. Like it was back to back, packed out. They brought I believe they brought the band in to the stands for that game because we were doing good that year. But ended up playing that game Thursday. Friday was senior skip day, so I ended up like on a flight. I didn't tell anybody I was going. Just ended up on a flight to Atlanta. And my mom. When I told my mom, hey, somebody wants me to take an official visit, she was like, oh, really? Who? This weekend? You know you committed to USF? I said, yeah, Georgia Tech. Her eyes lit up. She lit up. Georgia, you know, we're going. Like there was no hesitation with it. As soon as she said Georgia Tech, I was like, yeah, we're going. Didn't care about the football. Didn't care about the athletic prowess. She was strictly academic. That's the funny thing about her. So I was looking at the football schedule like, oh, they play Georgia, they play Clemson, North Carolina. Okay. She over here. Ooh, they got biomedical engineering. They got this engineering. They got that engineering. #1 engineering school. Okay. Okay, and then Dad's just like, like, good job. You know, good job. So ended up taking the official visit. Enjoyed my time. Learned a lot about Georgia Tech, the culture, and everything while I was there on that official. Definitely learned a lot of just different things about the school in general. And so ended up committing Sunday, called USF on Tuesday and told them that I was decommitting. And that was an uncomfortable conversation, one of the first of a few in my life that I've had so far, but you know, that's just how it is.
Right.
Ended up decommitting, and my signing day, we did something like special. Thank you to George Jenkins, like whole staff and everything. So that year, George Jenkins was the 25th anniversary of George Jenkins opening. It was the principal, Buddy, Principal Buddy, he was working there, and he was retiring that year. And it was our senior night, as well as there was something else. The vice principal was retiring. So the halftime of we were playing Mulberry at the time, and halftime of the Mulberry game, we ended up having an entire ceremony where it was, like thanking Buddy for his service, thanking the vice principal for her service as well, thanking just basically everybody that was there. And then I actually had my signing, and I announced where I was going while I was like during that halftime. And the best thing about that night I remember was afterwards, after we signed and after I signed and everything, everybody went cheered. I still have the videos. It gives me goosebumps just looking at the videos again. My parents actually ended up cooking. They spent a good amount of money to cook some food like macaroni, ribs, chicken, and everything.
Don't do it.
So we ended up. It wasn't even catered. Like it was just like our folks. My folks actually just like cooked it.
Wow.
And they brought it in, and everybody, both Mulberry, George Jenkins, everybody got a free plate of food. Just like a whole bunch of just food. So everybody ate good that night. They were like, "Oh, I'm telling you!" As soon as like we announced it, we took the picture, and then the principal was like, "Yeah, just to let y'all know, we have free food out there in front." When I tell you, everybody made a beeline for that door. Oh my gosh! Everybody walked in with trays of food, just munching, just eating great, like just eating good. So it was a good day. So that's how I ended up committing to Georgia Tech. Yeah. Went to Georgia Tech, and my freshman year, I remember I played the first 3 games. As a freshman, I remember we played against USF was one of them, which is crazy to me. USF was the second game of our season. Ooh. We played USF the second game. We played Pitt the third game, and the first game was, I want to say Clemson, but that was the next year. The first game of that year.
Y'all beat USF?
I was about to say, did you give USF the business?
I know you gave it to them. You had it.
Not that year. The reason I remember we lost that year was because we gave up 2 back-to-back kick return touchdowns to start the game. And it just went downhill from there.
That'll do it every time.
It was one of those things. You know? So we just went down, and like it was just, we could have won, we should have won, but we just it was a deficit that we couldn't overcome. But no, I can't remember the first game that we played that. Yes, I do. Alcorn State. We played them, and we beat them. I believe it was like 42-0. We lost to USF 39-28, and then we lost to Pitt by like a touchdown or 2. I can't remember. And after that, they ended up redshirting me, and that was something that really hurt me. Because, like I said, I was still like a big-headed, like, this is me, this is who I am, you feel me? Like, I'm about to go out here and start, and I'm going to play, and all this and that. Like, lacked humility at the time. And that was like a real blow to my pride to be like redshirted. So I remember going to my dorm room, crying about it, just being upset about everything like that happened with it. And I remember like that was the one time I really had to like realize, hey, this might be for the best. Like I had a conversation with my parents, just talking to them about like, are they redshirting me? I want to transfer. Like I don't want to be here no more. And they were like, shut up. Like, like what? Like you want to transfer because you didn't start your freshman year. Like you did good. You had like 8 tackles for my first year, which I mean was, all right. I think it was 8-4 or something like that.
And I think that's what we trying to get these guys to see, man, is I think that's the false reality of going to the next level.
Yeah.
Because if you can go in and play off bat, that's a blessing. But if not, wait your turn, work hard, and do your thing.
Yeah, like definitely, especially like in this day and age, the portal is basically like free agency.
Right. Yeah.
And what a lot of people, they see the portal and they'll hit the portal, but they don't see. They think the grass is greener, but they don't understand. A lot of them do not come out.
Yo.
A lot of them think that they're this top round great talent, and it's not gonna happen to me. Oh, I'm gonna go in and go somewhere and I'm a ball. No. They're not looking at your high school tape anymore for real. Unless you were like a 5-star or a super high rated high schooler coming out of high school, they're not looking at your high school tape. They want to know, what can you do for us? What have you done so far at this level to be able to say, oh, you can come over here and make an impact for us? Because at this point, you haven't proven yourself. You have a few good plays where you were the man at high school. Well, everybody was the man at high school at D1. Now, who can be the man in college? You feel me? Like, what are y'all going to do? Like, who is actually out here showing that they are the man on the field in college instead of just trying to use their high school tape to get somewhere? And honestly, when that was explained to me, it was just like, that's a real eye-opener, because if I transferred after a semester at Georgia Tech, what was I going to do? I would have ended up probably JUCO, probably back at Florida Southern, not playing football. Like, that's just something that's a reality that I face. And a lot of people do face that reality. Like, you're going into college, you're not playing at the moment because you have veterans in front of you that are either better than you or they're more disciplined than you. Sometimes it's not even about the talent or the skill level. Sometimes you might be more talented to the person in front of you, but they have experience and you're just undisciplined.
I like you said.
Like, you don't know that. You don't know the playbook. You can go out there and get a sack. Yeah, you can have 3 sacks in a game. But when you blow your assignment 7 times and they score 4 touchdowns off of that, you lost the game. You had a good game until you went film and watching it back, and you're just like, dude, I was a liability on this defense, and now you're wondering why you're not playing. You know, so a lot of people don't understand that discipline is a huge factor when it comes to being able to play football. Mental acuity is definitely a huge factor. Being able to understand your plays, being able to study, be in the playbook. And a lot of people don't understand too. And you guys stress this more importantly than anything. Academics is a huge thing when you get to the next level. I know a lot of people, like a lot of colleges where you're at their first year, their freshmen, they're making y'all go to study hall for an hour and a half every day, Monday through Thursday. The entire year, not just the first half, like the entire freshman year, you have study hall. And I know a lot of people that literally go to freshman study hall just to study, because they feel like, hey, I'm going to take this time to be disciplined, go in here where I know it's going to be quiet and it's going to be a chill environment and study what I need to study, get away from my room, get away from the distractions and whatnot, and just learn not my on the field stuff, but the off the field stuff, stuff that's going to be able to keep me eligible to be on the field. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. That's what a lot of people do understand as well. And that's why they'll excel both on the field and off the field. Because if you're putting it, back to what I was saying about you, the 50-50 thing, you can't just put 50% in your athlete life, 50% in. Like, no, it's 100. As soon as you go, you're going to be 100%. Like, the way you, how I've been taught, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So if you're not giving 110% in the classroom, how do I know that you're giving 110% on the field? Oh, you say you are. You say that you can do this, but you already have that little inkling in your mind of, oh, I don't really need to do this. Like, I can maintain, I can stay average. I don't need to stay afterwards and do a little bit of extra curls or a little bit of extra abs or this, that, and the third. And I can say I suffered from that too. Like, that's how I was as a freshman, sophomore, junior. Like, that's how I was. I had to really upgrade my mindset to be able to understand how I can make it to the next level. I have to understand how I can survive at the current level that I'm at when I was in college. How can I thrive at that level? How am I going to be able to, be the best defensive end I can be? You can't do that if you're half-butting it in the classroom, so to speak. Like, there's only so much you can really do if you're not giving your 100% in everything that you do. So, and I've seen a lot of players that have definitely done that. I've played with a lot of players that have done that. Jameer Gibbs, one of the best, coldest running backs right now in the league, Detroit Lions. He was at Georgia Tech first. I can tell so many stories about the way he was, but he was a real outstanding character. He's somebody that really led that life. He would go to school, he would go to class, he would go play football, he would go home, repeat the cycle, do it all again. He had his fun, but it wasn't no crazy, I'm out in the I'm out in the city, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm experiencing life. No. He would just go out with friends, hang out, go to Topgolf, go do things that he wanted to do. You know, just chill stuff, and then go back home and never got in trouble, never had to worry. He was a soft-spoken, really cool dude. I didn't get to know him very well, but I did know him. And I did talk to him. I had multiple conversations with him. I remember there was one time, he was the funniest dude, like one of the funniest people I've ever played with. We were out there at it was a summer workout, and we were just out on the field, they were running routes and everything, like, we just decided to go out on the field, and we're over here talking to him, and I'm like, bruh, like, because we would have like a defense where I would drop back into coverage, and I remember I had covered him on a route one time, and I ain't gonna lie, he broke me off. Like, this, look, I don't usually get broken off. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I play basketball, you know, so I know how to watch the center of gravity, see how it goes. When I tell you this man ran a 5-yard out, I'm running after him, he said, cut and got gone like a one-step jab and go. He had me. Oh man! Y'all ever seen that NFL video where the dude was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he almost broke my leg."
When I went down.
Like, that was the crazy thing. Like, I walked up to him, and like, folks were like, "Yeah, Deji, you just got broke off." I'm like, "Bruh, first of all, he's the only person ever to break me off in college." This man said, yeah. Dude, but no, he was a really funny dude. But he was a chill dude, and he did exactly what he needed to do to be able to do that. Another dude I knew, Wanye Thomas, defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys. He went in as an undrafted free agent after 2021. He graduated in 2021, and he went into the NFL draft. And he's playing with the Dallas Cowboys now. He's one of their 53. And he's really made a name for himself, and he's really, really good. And he was always doing the right thing, making sure he was in the right places, making sure he was doing the right amount of work, making sure that he was staying in, doing extra, being extra. He was that kind of person. And that's anywhere I went, there were always a few on one side of the spectrum, and there were always a few on the other side of the spectrum. And you have to determine, do you want to be on this side of the spectrum? Do you want to be on this side of the spectrum? Or are you cool just being average? And if you're cool being anything less than this side of the spectrum, chances are, if you're thinking about trying to go to the NFL or something, you're not going to make it.
Right.
That's just how it was.
Right.
I